So did you go right to Guardians, or did you audition anywhere like before Guardians, or was it just like Guardians is a local group, go there?
I think my first audition was either with Crossman or Genesis. I think it was Genesis, because it was Genesis. I remember now, because my very first audition camp ever, I accidentally walked into the girls' locker room. So that was really embarrassing. I didn't bring any shower shoes, and so I thought, let's just shower in my tennis shoes. So that was really embarrassing.
Yeah. Clean feet.
And
that's terrible. That's a terrible joke. Cut me.
At some point in the audition camp, my nose started bleeding, like while we were playing. And then they were like, I want you to use that much air when you play. I got cut.
You were like, no, this isn't air, bud.
No, my nose just started bleeding. I don't understand. I got cut from there, and I wasn't like too upset about it. I was just like, oh, whatever. I'll march next year or whatever. And then eventually the opportunity kind of presented itself to me. I don't even remember how it came to this, but my dad, like, I guess he sent me something and was like, hey, Guardians is this brand new corps. They're open class for the first year. They're based out of like Seguin, which at that point was like 3 hours or so away from me. Not that bad. Pretty local.
I don't think I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's some small town. I think now they're from DFW area. They shipped around a lot, but he just sent me this, and I was like, sure. Not even really thinking that there was any way I'd ever get contracted, right? And so I just sent in just this random, really bad audition tape. I think I found it a couple of years ago, and I was like, "Dog, they took this."
Dude, we got to get that out of the archive.
I don't know. I think I do. It's probably archived on some YouTube channel. One of like the 7 I've had to make for drum corps at some point.
Oh my God. Do you ever go back and like watch some of those from like your earlier years? Because I like every once in a while, like if I go like look at my channel for some reason, like my personal one, and I go see like those old video assignments, especially like 2017 and 2016, when I was like, bro, I should be fucking making Boston every year. I would like
those Day of Reckoning assignments.
I would watch those video assignments back, and I'm like, bro, I kind of sucked my rookie year. Like my marching was ass. What was I thinking? Like I'm watching it back.
Good, and then you go back and you're like, what?
Look at my technique, dog. What the fuck is wrong with
everything? My playing, my technique. Like
I couldn't play on the move. Like you just hear feet in the sound the whole time. Sound like I'm dying. Like what am I thinking?
So I think for Guardians, I think I paid like $100 for my first year or something like that. Or like my dad paid $100 for my first year. It was a really cheap because I joined in like very, very late. And they had this weird like move-in schedule of like we did a week-long camp essentially, and then you did like a week off. And then you actually moved in. And so like after that first week, I don't know how I went back. I don't know. So
is it like a week of move-ins, or is it treated like a camp where you kind of rehearse every day and then you go home, and then when you actually did the move-ins, that's like, you know, normal drum corps kind of schedule?
No, it was actual move-ins. Like we moved in for a week. It doesn't sound right, but I vividly remember it being like this. We moved in for a week.
2014. So
yeah, true. And an open class corps. Yeah. That's almost 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
We're getting old out here, dude. It was hard old. Like last week, like I had to go back and watch like 2016 like clips to like regain some of those memories back so I could like write stuff down for like Riley's episode, because it was just like, especially talking about like I haven't had a 2017 person on yet, and like I don't know what will happen when I get to that point. Because like I said in the last episode, I have like 3 memories from 2017, and they're all me running somewhere. So like they're just running in a certain location, and that's all I remember. So like if I talk to anybody about it, I'm like, you remember that time we ran up that hill like with tubes in our mouth, like trying to breathe? That was crazy.
There's a reason that there's a separation in between the 16 and the 18 in my marching experience at Oregon. You know what I mean?
And we will get there. We will get there, folks. So in the open class summer, since we're already just on that topic, so just kind of give, again, I think you kind of got into it a little bit, but give like a little bit, just an overview of like the open class experience, what that schedule is like, and kind of just overall what the experience is like.
I have to preface this conversation by saying that like Guardians, this was 10 years ago. Right. Guardians is an entirely different corps. The experience for a current Guardians member is going to be totally different than what I had. And like they're established now. They've been around for 10 years. I was a second year ever existing like member. Right? I have a little pin that says like Guardians open class founding member or whatever.
OG.
It's like It's like a block of wood. I don't know. They were really big on the trees back then or something.
That's pretty cool though.
So like there's a lot of struggles that come with open class that a lot of people don't necessarily think about, especially if it's like a starting core like that. So like we ate chicken, cheese, and rice pretty much every day, to the point where like that was the hype, is that we would like run around screaming like that we were having chicken, cheese, and rice. And it was good, right? It was great food. Got a little old after a point. Also, like, I was such a tick. I was such like a I was the kid. I was the guy. I was the guy just messing up. That
you were the tick your rookie year?
Absolutely, 100%.
Oh my God.
100%. I was not good at all.
I feel like that's just like everybody's rookie year, because you think you're like hanging with everybody because you can like survive a show, and then like you do years of it, and then you look back and you're like, oh my God, I was like barely surviving.
Absolutely, yeah.
Barely making it,
especially since like I had some like conflicts or like academic issues, we'll say, my first year of high school, and so I didn't even really get to do marching band my first year. Oh, so like drum corps was kind of my first real marching band, essentially. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what was that like? I know a lot about just like open class rehearsals and kind of how like schedules and what kind of happens and how those are blocked out. Is there anything different for like an open class rehearsal? Obviously this is 10 years ago, but what were those like? Are they running it with the same intensity? Is it more of like a learning base because it's open class level? So are we more about like the teaching, or are we competitive? Like what were the vibes, if you can recall?
So we weren't really competitively focused. I think at that point it was more about like, hey, this is our second year ever. We need to prove ourselves, right? Like we need to make our name for ourselves, and we're kind of establishing the idea of what Guardians will be for years to come, essentially. Yeah. And so that's really what the rehearsal schedule was. Like, what do you want people to say about you, right? You're a new open class core. Why should people care about the Guardians or whatever? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, so we kind of rehearsed with that mindset of like, why would people care about us? Let's make people care about us, right? Let's do something. Let's make them care about us. Let's go out there and let's be excellent, and let's not let them like deny that we were excellent, right? Let's go prove ourselves.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of how the rehearsal structures were run.